Now, as we enter this time of meditation, I invite you to allow yourself to relax even more and rest in the core of your being. And allow any concerns to drift away and find the peace that is always here, always available. As we relax our minds, let us release any preconceived ideas about what is possible and allow ourselves to be lifted now into the realm of unlimited possibilities. Allow yourself to be elevated into the mystery and majesty of all that is. In truth, we are unlimited. We exist beyond time and space, extending into the deepest realms of spirit. Allow yourself to just be, to float on a great cloud of being. To allow a broader version of life to birth itself in you now. And from the softness of expanded perception, ordinary events of our lives take on new luster, a depth of meaning. There are no ordinary days. For every moment shines with the holy relationship of human consciousness and God-mind. God-mind, God-love, and God-joy. Let us be for a while now in the silence as we relax into a greater awareness of each holy breath. And bringing our awareness back to this room. Sweet Spirit, let us remain awakened to the knowing that each step in our journeys vibrates with your holy presence. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God. Amen. Oh, thank you, Jack. Boy, isn't joy a spiritual chiropractic? Oh, yes, adjustments. So welcome, everybody. My name is Robyn Plante, the senior minister here. We also have an associate minister, Reverend Kathy Ellicott Carver, who's up here, too. And I'm going to thank our special music today. Thank you, Jack, and thank you, Betty, on the violin today. And so when I look out here, I see the face of God. I see the face of God. And the Christ in you is unmasked. So welcome back. Those of you who've been here before, welcome. If we haven't seen you in a long time, welcome visitors and new people. So we are so glad that you're here and that you've kept your divine appointment today. Every day is a divine appointment, isn't it? The choices we make and the choices we're guided to. So early one morning, a mother went to wake her son up for school. She said, "Wake up, son. Come on, time to go to school." And he opened one eye and said, "Oh, I don't want to go to school. Do I have to?" And she said, "Well, give me 2 good reasons why you don't want to go to school." He said, "Well, the kids all hate me. And the teachers hate me too." He said, "Oh no, that is no good reason not to go to school. Come on, get up, you have to go to school." And so he sat up a little bit taller and stuck his chin out and said, "You give me 2 reasons why I should go to school." And she said, "Well, 1, you're 52 years old, and 2, you're the principal." So we are talking about joy today, how to retrieve it, how to receive it, how to pass it on, and giving ourselves permission to feel it and set it free. So who's willing to give themselves permission for joy today, to experience, to feel it, to pass it on? Oh yeah, all the hands are up. Great. Yay. Good. We're going to have fun today. So when we allow ourselves to play in that field of joy, that is the field of miracles we're talking about too, and that field of love, and embody that and radiate that, that is a benevolent energy that goes forth to touch heart to heart to heart. It ripples outward in beautiful and wonderful ways. And it also ripples inward, and we can feel that, right, with our peace, our centeredness, our calm. That happens with the movement of joy. And I know that, you know, we're living in a time with so many abrupt and unsettling events and changes, right? And it can be tempting to hide, to, you know, just pull the covers up like the principal here and go back to sleep. It's always good for a timeout sometimes, but we can't stay there. We can't stay there. So to take care of the feelings, the overwhelm, and then come back in, come back to school. This Earth School, where we are learning so much right now. Who feels like they're really learning so much right now? Yeah, this is like the graduate school of spiritual practice right now, isn't it? Yeah, we're all in it. We're all in it. So we're living in a time when joy is a necessary resurrection. Necessary resurrection. And it's like Spirit saying, tag, you're it. Go tag someone else with joy. Go tag this person with joy. Even in the face of adversity, uncertainty, and grief, the spirit of joy is just on the other side of that, waiting to break through. When we allow it, it's like a spiritual helium, oxygen for the soul. And maybe you know this song, Jack. I don't know if you do, but there's a song that says, "The joy that I have, the world can't take it away. The world didn't give it, and the world can't take it away." We'll have to learn that one, and sing it together. So we're talking about a deeper quality of joy that is within us, that deep well of joy that is our spiritual nature, our Christ self, our Christ essence. And though we can catch joy and pass it on, it is not dependent on external circumstances. So as kids, joy came naturally, didn't it? Do you remember waking up as a child and just like, wow, what can I do today? I remember waking up and I couldn't wait to get outside to explore and investigate and see what I could discover. Anybody else have that experience? Yeah. So this curiosity propelled us into new experience in the mystery of simply being. This experience of life, and delighted at the smallest things. I am blessed to spend time with my 3-year-old each week, and we were picking oranges the other day, and there's lots of spider webs, all over the oranges and in the bushes. So we were looking and looking carefully, and so we pulled a few and dusted the webs off, and he goes up to the tree and says, "Thank you, spiders." So, the smallest things, So, think of a happy childhood memory right now. What comes to mind for you? And notice when the memory comes how you feel inside with that, remembering that experience. When I was putting this talk together, and what came to my mind was this memory of my family in a station wagon going on a camping trip. And there were 7 of us, so 5 kids piled in the back of the station wagon going to Big Sur. And my sister and I sat in the jump seat, those old station wagons that had those backward facing so you looked at traffic behind you. We were back there. It was a long trip. So we were thinking of ways to amuse ourselves. And, the radio was up playing the Summer of Love songs. So we were singing, and then we decided to flash the peace song to the cars behind us and see how many we could get in return. So, every car that went by, 10, 20, 30, until I think we were up to like 70 something. It was a long drive. Before one of the responders kept honking his horn and scared my mother. She says she was scared of those hippies. She told us to knock it off. But as a child, I remember the power of that, the joy and the power of that, connecting with strangers on the road who would smile and wave and say, "Yeah, peace, peace back." And I felt that I was part of something larger and beautiful that my 10-year-old self could not explain. So joy does that, doesn't it? It takes us to this bigger place. And then, though it's a present moment experience, we can retrieve it through memory and experience it all over again. Because the body knows no time and space. The thoughts, the emotions are there. We can tap into. So Jesus taught a lot about love and joy, didn't he? In John chapter 15, as the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. If you keep my commands, you will remain in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commands and remain in his love. I have told you this so that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be complete. And the command that we are asked to keep is love each other as I have loved you. So when we turn to our Christ center where love is already, where joy is already, we access that divine sparkle, that Christ center where it all is, where God is expressing. And to know that our capacity for joy is a gift from God, that we were born with it. It's the cell's happy dance of being alive. So it's always here, like an ever-present spring waiting to bubble up and flow forth when we give it our permission, our allowing, no matter what is happening in the outer world. So joy is just waiting to come in, not only to give relief, but to give us strength as well. The joy of the Lord is my strength, Scripture says. Lord, metaphysically, is the I am. The joy of the I am is my strength. When we go to that I am place, that Christ center, where we find our strength too. So not only does joy make us feel good, it has healing properties. Have you found that to be true? Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, had a whole chapter about the healing power of joy in his book, Jesus Christ Heals. Listen to this. Some people think it's almost a sacrilege to sing when they feel bad. They think that it's time to groan, and they usually do. But you can quickly be released from the prison of pain or grief if you will sing and praise and pray. Yeah, I see a lot of heads nodding. Yes. So I think there's a misconception about joy sometimes that, you can only feel it when things are going well, or that, it's unseemly to feel it when, in the midst of pain or tragedy. But the difficult times are when the expression of joy can make the greatest impact. I had a personal experience with this that I'll share. Around the time of my grandson's death, 3 days after his funeral, his older brother had a 12th birthday. So our family, we were all pretty much still in shock, but we wanted to celebrate the kid's birthday, Junior's birthday. So we took him to a diner for lunch, and we told the server, about the birthday boy. And our waiter must have picked up that, for celebration, that table of 6 does not look very cheerful. It must have looked like one glum group. But what happened next, we still talk about today. So 2 brothers in their 30s own the diner, and they kind of remind me of those twins on, what is that HGTV show, The Property Brothers? They kind of look like them. And so after our meal, they headed our way, both of them, and one was carrying cake and the other a brown paper bag. I thought, oh great, they're bringing him cake, and will they sing? And then these two guys just burst into this wild dance, and one was going, this wild dance and rap, this birthday rap. And they were just like hip-hopping and dancing around our table. And they were reaching in the bag, throwing candy on the table toward my grandson. And for their grand finale, they took handfuls of sugar packets and flung them up in the air and all over the table. And it was just raining sweetness all over us. It was wild. It was so wild and unexpected. And it lightened the mood. And the greatest thing was seeing my 12-year-old grandson smile for the first time all week. So whether it's a quiet joy, a little joy, or a wild and crazy joy, expressions of joy bring healing. Not only emotionally, but also physically. How many of you remember the story of Norman Cousins? He got the attention back in the medical community back in the late 70s after his diagnosis of heart disease, and his doctors told him he had a very slim chance of surviving. So instead of seeing the MD as a minor deity, Norman Cousins decided to create a treatment plan of his own, which included positive attitude, love, faith, hope, and laughter. Lots of laughter by watching the Marx Brothers films. You recommend those? So he reported this. I made a joyous discovery that 10 minutes of genuine belly laughing had an anesthesic effect and would give me at least 2 hours of pain-free sleep. And he reported when the pain relief effect of laughter wore off, he would put the movies on again, which would deliver him most of the time to another segment of pain-free sleep. Isn't that amazing? He discovered that laughter boosted his immune system and brought healing for this serious disease that he'd been battling. And he concluded this: the experience of laughter momentarily banishes feelings of anger and fear and provides moments of feeling carefree, lighthearted, and hopeful. And we know that instinctively, right? So laughter creates space for hope. And he surprised his doctors by living past their date for his exit. Guess how long he lived after his first diagnosis? 36 years. 36 years. After they told him he would be dead soon. So laughter, joy, brings us in the now, in the present moment, where life is happening now. God is happening now, right here, right now. So joy is healing. It's strength-giving. It's a moment, present moment activity. I also want to say that inviting joy and experiencing it, sharing it, is not about ignoring difficulties. It's not about that. Or ignoring what's happening in the world or stuffing feelings. No. We can still be aware of and take care of our mind, our body, our spirit, be aware of our place in the world, what's happening, and turn to divine guidance for inspired action. And take that joy into our service, into the areas we are called to serve to make a difference. So, one thing to keep in mind is that how can you access divine guidance if you're living in an emotional lockdown of fear? You can't, right? Cut off fear. So here's where we can look at wisdom from indigenous cultures. And when a community member felt troubled or lost or out of sorts, they would visit the tribal elder, often a shaman, who would ask them these questions. When did you stop dancing? When did you stop singing? When did you stop feeling enchanted by stories? When did you cease finding comfort in silence? So these are good questions to ask ourselves, and then flip it around to, when can I dance? Now? When can I sing? Now? When can I hear a story, tell a story, share a story? And when can I go into the silence and find rest and nurturance there? So in many cultures, dancing and singing are seen as pathways to the divine and an avenue for sustaining life force to be present. And telling stories together around a campfire or in a group is what our ancestors did before TV, radio, phone, computer, newspaper. And so connecting that way through story, all good for the psyche. It's a way to teach and to entertain and connect. And then we know the benefits of sitting in the silence, right? Letting the thoughts just settle so that divine guidance and wisdom can come through. So we've done a couple of these today, right? And if you feel like dancing in your chair or dancing in the aisle, go for it. So laughter, song, positivity, and joy, body, mind, spirit, all in an intertwined dance of life. St. Teresa of Avila, the Spanish nun who founded the order of the Carmelites in 1562, she used to look for novices who knew how to do three things: how to laugh, how to eat, and how to sleep. And she believed if they ate heartily, they were healthy. And if they slept well, they were more likely free of serious sin or error thinking, we would say in unity. And if they laughed, she knew they had the disposition to survive any difficulty in life. And guess what her motto was? She who laughs lasts. She who laughs lasts. Ooh, that's a lot of T's in there. Lasts. So I want to close with a story about an amazing young man who leaned into joy and faith when his world fell apart. Maybe some of you are familiar with the story of Bourner, who was 16 and a rising star in his football team in a Texas high school when he suffered a spinal cord injury on the football field. And he says when he was down on the field, he kept repeating, "God be with me, God be with me, God be with me." And so after a 9-hour surgery, doctors told him he'd be in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. So he had a lot of anger at God. Just, why me? Why this? My life was ahead of me, why? And after his anger subsided, he decided to redirect his energy into a new vision that someday he would walk again. No matter what his doctor said, what anybody said, he would walk again. So he leaned into his family of faith and was guided to become a motivational speaker. So he would tour schools and give a message of inspiration and hope and encouragement to young people. And he said, you just got to be thankful because it's a blessing to be alive and still be here. So he let his anger out, released it, and then gratitude came, faith came, joy came. And so after his high school graduation, he took classes in communication and continued speaking to students. And then this summer, 12 years after his injury, not only did he receive his college degree in communications from the University of North Texas, he accepted his diploma by walking across the stage. So how is a paralyzed man able to walk again? Well, his doctor created a new invention called an exoskeleton suit. Has anybody heard of that? Oh, a few people have. Yeah, I had never heard of that before, but an exoskeleton suit. So imagine even standing upright after 12 years of sitting. So Corey practiced a little bit before he went on the stage there. But he was walking again when all of the experts told him it would never happen. But he kept the faith all those years. And he vowed that he would continue to be a motivational speaker and keep his story alive. Sometimes when we have the vision, we don't know how it's going to happen, but it happens. I like this from, actually, Robert Schuller said, joy is not the absence of suffering, it is the presence of God. The presence of God in it all. So this young man is doing amazing things, and I just see him doing even more amazing things. So permission slips. What will you give yourself permission for this week? I like this one too. Permission to be human. How many would we check off there? How many would you check out? Yeah, a few. And also permission for joy. Right. You get to fill it in. Tag, you're it.